Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. What you're about to hear is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony from the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. In a courtroom so tense, you could hear a pin drop. The silence was shattered by a woman's voice, recounting what she says took place behind closed doors in music mogul Diddy's infamous dark room. Whether it was alcohol, weed, or pills, she said it dulled her senses just enough to let her go through the motions. But she remembered everything. I knew it was wrong, Cassie said, but I didn't know how to say no to someone who had my entire life in his hands. She was then asked what would happen if she refused. Her reply was chilling. He told me I was boring. He said, if you don't do it, someone else will. That quote hung heavy in the air. Is for everyone in that courtroom, including members of Diddy's own family. It was the first time they had heard the abuse described this way from the inside out, and they weren't ready for what came next. When the prosecutor asked Cassie to elaborate on step 2, he touching face, she visibly clenched her hands in her lap. What she described next made headlines before she even left the courtroom. Cassie testified that Diddy had an obsession with sheen, specifically how skin looked when it was glistening under low light. The prosecution supported her claim by referencing physical evidence seized during the federal raid of Diddy's property, over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant in the prosecutor's own words. Enough to fill an aisle at a pharmacy, Cassie explained that Diddy would stop the freakoffs every 5 minutes to reapply oil, not just on her, but on the male escort as well. He wanted us to look like we were wrapped in cellophane, she said. Every inch of our skin had to shine. He would scream if we looked dry. At first, the courtroom responded with nervous laughter, a brief, uneasy reaction, but it quickly vanished when Cassie revealed the true purpose behind the oil. It wasn't just for visual effect, it was to dehumanize. When you're covered in oil, you're not a person anymore, she said. You're an object. Her voice cracked, but she didn't break. She described how she would slide on the sheets, unable to get traction, sometimes falling. Diddy would laugh. Other times, he would berate her, calling her names and accusing her of ruining the performance. According to her, it wasn't about sex. It was about power, control, and submission. He wanted to own the image. He wanted to direct the scene, Cassie said. If I did something off script, he'd stop everything and start again. She also mentioned the presence of hidden cameras. There were times I saw little red lights blinking. I don't know where the footage went, I just know he kept everything. While prosecutors have not yet confirmed whether any footage has been recovered, they nodded subtly, a silent indication that an investigation into that possibility may already be underway. Her testimony became even more chilling when she mentioned the involvement of Diddy's staff. Cassie alleged that assistants would enter the room mid-session, not to intervene, but to assist. They would bring in towels, reapply oil, or hand off recording equipment, she said. Nobody said anything. They all acted like it was normal. At that moment, Diddy stared down at his lap, his hands visibly shaking. Even the judge appeared rattled, but Cassie wasn't finished. What came next would turn the entire courtroom upside down. By the time Cassie reached step 3 and step 4, the courtroom remained silent. Diddy didn't look up. She went on to describe how he would invite male escorts into their private space, not for himself, but to participate with her while he sat and watched. It wasn't always consensual, she stated, but even more disturbing was how meticulously it was structured. Cassie broke it down into 4 steps. Step 1. Descriptive foreplay. She was allegedly required to speak aloud every single thing that was happening, narrating the acts in real time. Narrating it in real time, like a graphic audiobook. He would sit in the corner and make me describe what I saw, what I felt, what I thought, she testified. He wanted every detail. A ripple went through the courtroom. The judge reminded everyone that phones were strictly prohibited. One juror wiped their eyes. Cassie took a breath, then revealed another layer of horror. She was often under the influence during these sessions, using substances provided by Diddy himself. The courtroom had gone completely still. She adjusted her mic and quietly said, "This part I still try to forget." Step 3, she explained, was what she called oral servitude. She admitted that she would try to rush through it, not out of disrespect, but because she just wanted it to be over. I wasn't there because I wanted to be. She said I was there because I thought if I didn't do it, he'd find someone else. Her voice was steady, but the weight of her words settled heavily over the room. thick with disbelief and devastation. She was visibly trembling as she described how Diddy would often film her and the escort, providing off-screen direction. He would sit there like a film director, she said. He'd say slower, more eye contact, talk to him like I was acting in some grotesque porno. He wrote in his mind, Step 4, the intercourse phase, wasn't always direct. Sometimes Diddy would simply watch, other times he would join, and Cassie explained that it depended on how comfortable he was with the escort. If he trusted the guy, he'd participate. If not, he just sat there playing God. But what shocked the courtroom wasn't just what happened during the acts, it was what happened afterward. Cassie testified that Diddy would demand she take the male escort's semen and rub it on his chest and nipples. He liked it, she said, through tears. He said it made him feel powerful. At that moment, a reporter gasped audibly. A juror looked visibly ill, and the judge called a 5-minute recess. Diddy sat stone-faced, but his foot was twitching, bouncing so fast it blurred. When the court reconvened, Cassie revealed something even darker. She testified that on multiple occasions, she was forced to participate in these rituals during her period. There were no breaks, she was not allowed to opt out. And when things got messy and bloody, even Diddy had staff come in with extra linens. Cassie Ventura's testimony wasn't just disturbing, it was horrifying. Step by step, she described a ritualistic system of abuse so specific and depraved that even seasoned reporters were shaken. Her words painted a picture of baby oil, manual urination, and alleged forced acts during her menstrual cycle. This wasn't just wild behavior, it sounded like organized torment. As she laid bare these harrowing details, Diddy sat across from her, his hands trembling, visibly shaken. Eventually, he broke down. He screamed. Today we're breaking down everything Cassie said under oath, how the courtroom reacted, and why her testimony may be the final nail in the coffin for one of hip-hop's most powerful figures. This is what happens when the darkest secrets are dragged into the light. As Cassie Ventura slowly made her way to the witness stand, the entire courtroom stiffened. She wasn't just another accuser, she was the one who opened Pandora's box, the one whose lawsuit lit the match. Now 8 months pregnant, wearing a gray maternity dress with a high collar, her eyes fixed straight ahead, she looked less like a pop star and more like a witness to war. The prosecution started gently, asking Cassie how she met Diddy, how she got signed, how their relationship evolved. But the softness didn't last. What followed was a brutal dive into one of the most disturbing courtroom testimonies the music industry has ever heard. Cassie began detailing what she described as a ritual. This wasn't random. It wasn't impulsive. She claimed Diddy ran his so-called freakoffs like a film director, precise choreographed, and fully produced. The lights were dimmed just right. Music was selected in advance. Scented oils filled the room.